Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing on a YouTube channel for future use. I am your host for today's activities. Our topic today is brought to you by our Amon Carter Museum of American Art, Director of Manager of Outreach. Is it Peggy?
No, it's what am I? Manager of Access Programs and Resources.
Okay.
Access
But
Program.
hey, if you want to call me a director, I'm good. Let's get it printed
That's
up
right.
wherever we can.
We'll give you a promotion.
And we'll give
We'll
you
give you a
some extra
promotion.
money for that. Yes,
Please, from
And
your lips
Peggy-
to God's ears, it's the facts now.
there you go. And Peggy's going to talk about high contrast today. I can't wait to see what she's brought. Peggy, it's all yours.
All right, thank you for that, Martha, for the
Yes,
promotion and the introduction. I appreciate it.
The easiest promo we've ever given.
Yeah, right. So I'm just going to send you to HR after this conversation and
Okay.
get it all out for me. So today's high contrast, very vague, but it's fancy term for black and white. So we have tons and tons and tons of artwork in our collection that's black and white. The same way abstract, we could do a million sessions on abstract. We could do a million sessions on black and white. And there's a bunch of different ways to interpret black and white, whether it's photographs or ink on paper or lithographs. So every medium has versions of black and white. And so we're looking at a few different mediums today, and we're going to start off with this. It's a painting, oil on canvas, by Frederick Remington, entitled "The Right of the Road, a Hazardous Encounter on a Rocky Mountain Trail." So does this look like a painting to you?
Yes,
It does. What aspects of this painting, Don, does it seem?
I think I see. It looks like some of the details, like the lines on the trail, or like brush
Right here.
marks, and
Mhm.
just has the feeling of a painting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you'll notice brush strokes on the back of the horse, the long strokes John
Yep.
pointed out on the trail, even some of these strokes
Some of them on the
mountain.
side of the mountain there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a rather large painting. It's 40 inches by 27 inches. So it's deceiving on this screen, but it's rather a large painting in black and white. And I'm going to give you a deep cut art history term. When an artist is painting in black and white, it's called grisaille.
What is
And
it?
it's grisaille. And it's a French, it's Graille. I think that's how you spell it.
Ooh,
Don't quote me on it, guys.
That's
I'm not a
fancy.
speller.
Grisaille.
Okay.
Grisaille. And so, or Grisaille. So if you speak other languages, Greece, Gris is off, it means gray. And
Mhm.
so it's this style of painting in black and white. Oftentimes it's meant to represent something 3D. So it could be meant to look like a sculpture, a marble sculpture. But this practice of painting in a monochromatic palette is called grisaille. And so here, this is a really good example of Frederick Remington doing that. And the reason, and this is a really good example of his ability to paint this way. He was an illustrator. That's how he cut his teeth. He was a well-known illustrator that was published in Harper's Magazine, different periodicals. And so he was really good at illustrating in black and white. And because of that, he got really good at condensing scenes using only, really two colors, black and white, minimizing all of the other detail and getting it down to its essence, which here, there's not much he's depicting in detail, but you get the whole scene. So can you tell me what you see here? What's happening in this scene?
Looks like
The horses are spooked.
Horses are spooked.
Guy's riding a bicycle.
Guys riding a bike. You can see what's here.
Stagecoach,
Stagecoach.
big one.
Yeah, people in the stagecoach.
Mm-hmm.
And the driver at the stagecoach is trying to control the horses.
Yes, right here.
Yeah.
So you just gave so many different descriptors about what's happening, and there's no color. There's not much to it. We don't know what time of day it is. We don't know even the time of year it is. But we know that these horses are spooked because there's a man on a bike. The bike probably freaked these horses out. We've got the person who is trying to rein in the horses. He's got two people, and then we even see they're just marks, but we can see that there are people in the stagecoach. We don't even see that it's a person, but we can tell by the gray he uses that there's people in there. So a lot of times he would do these black and white preparatory paintings to then illustrate, but he was also a really good illustrator in black and white. So it's kind of like the chicken or the egg. He used, a lot of painters will practice something in paint, black and white, before they illustrate. He was able to go back and forth to both. And as he got better in his painting, he was able to really use that to hone in on his illustration. So here we have this scene of these horses being spooked. Interestingly, when he created this painting, he had gotten a job through, I want to say, I wrote it down, Denver Rio. Yeah, the Denver Rio Grand Railroad, to go and travel 300 miles along the Rocky Mountains to depict the West, the Wild West. And when he was in New York prior to this, and he was really itching to get back out west, but there was nothing funding his project until he came across this railroad deal. And he was so disappointed on that trip because by 1900, the West was settled. It wasn't this Wild West he had always, we think of with Remington, with the cowboys and the Indians and the, these elaborate military scenes. That kind of stuff had really gone away or wasn't happening nearly the way that the Easterners thought the West was living. It was tamed. So while he was seeing a pretty industrialized, settled West, he didn't depict any of that. And this bike is the most modern thing he's depicting on this entire trip. Mm-hmm. And he's depicting it in a negative way because he's showing this man on a bike and how it's completely spooking the way of the West.
Well, this is bothering me because what the hell's a man on a bike doing out on a stagecoach route?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I felt the same way, Don.
It just doesn't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems out of place. I mean, and think about how dangerous this would have been to be riding on a bike. If any of you have mountain biked, it's loose gravel, it's dirt, and then you're trying to ride past, what is this, 5 horses and a massive stagecoach teetering on the edge of a mountain that's not on a road. I mean, it's on a dirt road, but it's not what we know for roads. Mm-hmm. So it was, Remington's way of saying, like, we don't need these people on our roads. And people have hard opinions about bikers today still. And so this is one of the earlier depictions of, share the road with a biker. And he was not impressed by it. And he kind of captures that moment here.
The depiction, the bicycle shows that the basic outline of a bicycle hasn't changed in over 100 years.
Yeah.
Because it's got the fork in the front and back and the chain and the handlebars and stuff.
And this to me seems like a really lightweight road bike given today's standards. It doesn't even seem, think of the mountain bikes, how wide those tires are. I mean, he's literally, it looks like he's on a road bike tire. Oof, good luck to you, sir, riding in that kind of terrain. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're right. He captures, but this was really modern at the time, this bike. And it's still, you're right, the bones of what this bike looks like.
I wonder if the tires were solid rubber because I don't think that they could stand up these long part of time if they were inflatable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It'd be flat quickly.
And there's certainly
just
no
my
gas
bicycle
stations.
experience.
Certainly no gas stations, that's for dang sure. Yeah, fill up a quick tire real quick at the 7-Eleven down the mountain.
Yeah.
There are actually 6 horses in that.
6 horses, yeah.
Oh,
Three
you're,
pairs.
yeah, there's,
They're,
yeah,
they're teamed together, three and three.
this one seems kind of random though, doesn't it? Because you can see these three are together, but then this one feels very far ahead of the two it would be attached to.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's just the way well, there's three in the back.
I see two, and then this
Yeah.
third one that's kind of random, but it doesn't seem to be syncing up.
I think the one you're pointing at is just reacting to the two horses in front of him because
Yeah.
they're rearing up, and so the third one is just rearing up behind him too.
Yeah.
It's 2, 2, and 2.
Yeah, two and two.
Two,
Well,
two,
no, I don't know.
Two.
Because there's,
Yeah.
in my mind, there's three horses in the back. I see three heads,
Right.
1, 2, and 3 in the back.
I
Right.
see 1, 2.
Now there's three. There's another third one. And there's the light colored one, and then one to the right is a head.
Right
Not to the
here.
left. No, the other side. Right there. Now down, right. Go close. Go. I'm sorry. I'm pointing with my finger. I'm sorry. Right there is another horse. 'Cause you
Right.
can see the head.
Right.
I think, okay, so that I'm trying to use my fingers too. There's two closest to the right, to
Oh.
the man with the reins. This is one, he's looking at us. Two, he's rearing, kind of peeling to the side. I think with Janine, you said they're 2, 2, and 2. Then we've got a horse here that's, you can't see any of its trappings.
You
And
can see
then
his
this-
back. You see his back.
Oh,
Between
here we
the two
go.
horses.
You can see his body here. He's paired with the one who's looking at the rider. And then these two seem to be in the front, and they're both bucking. And the two in the middle seem to almost be catching up to the horses that have stopped running. Probably a really freaky scene if you're the man on the bike.
Yeah,
You're
no
trying to
kidding.
gain control of your wagon. I mean, and look at this edge. I mean, it's not going to end well if he doesn't gain
No.
control.
You know,
So there's a lot. Oh, go ahead, John.
I thought at first I thought it was the horses passing the bicycle, but it's obviously the bicycle's passing on a downslope, passing the horses.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it, flying down a mountain like that on a bike.
Mhm.
I do like the shadowing that you see.
Right here.
Yeah, and even off the bike.
Yes. Yeah, so you know where the light is coming from, and you can even see it on their hair, the horse's body. That highlighting he's using for the sun hitting that side.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I mean, again, we know Remington is just as great as everyone makes him out to be, and this is no anomaly. He did a really
No
wonderful
kidding.
job telling us a story in just black and white, and he picked up on shadows and the details of their faces. I mean, it's just a really remarkable piece of art. So we're gonna leave our friend Remington on the mountainside, and we're gonna head back into the city, and we're gonna be in New York City now.
Cute.
Isn't this sweet?
Yes.
So tell me what you see here.
Halloween.
Say that again.
Halloween.
Halloween?
That's what I'm thinking with
Yeah,
the
no,
think
you're
I just-
exactly right. It is Halloween.
Oh, I was going to say young bank robbers.
It looked like
Oh,
the
darn.
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a masquerade ball.
A ball,
Ooh.
a baby ball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This is actually Halloween. Martha, you got it right out of the gate, first guess. This is Halloween. And when I first saw it, I did not think Halloween at all. I just thought kids playing dress up. But this is Halloween. And it's right out on someone's front stoop in the city. I mean, this feels very urban childhood. In a tenement house, to be more specific. It's in tenement housing. The photographer was a Jewish immigrant from Europe. And her MO was taking photographs of street scenes in her community, particularly, lower income housing like tenement houses. And she was really interested in children. And here is just a sweet moment, no adults around. So I'm sure some of you have that memory of whether you grew up in a city or in a suburban area or even on a farm, those memories of like, well, my parents aren't here and we can kind of do whatever we want, but I don't even know what we want to do without
That's right.
them around.
We want to be bad, but how do we do it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're just standing on the front stoop. I mean, like we could go anywhere, but we're going to just stay on our front stoop. And so it's a relatable situation for, most people. And also it could have been we're home and our parents are either not back from work or our parents are inside getting dinner ready. I mean, their clothes aren't the cleanest clothes. You can kind of tell her socks or seem maybe like they've lost their elastic, or the bottom of his jacket seems a little tattered and dirty.
But he's wearing a tie.
Yeah.
He is wearing, is it a tie? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's a
I
tie.
can't
I think
tell.
it's a tie. Yeah.
Both boys have a tie.
Well, if he's
But
going to
the
little
little girl reminds me of my daughter, who hated something, didn't like bows in her hair, didn't like hats in it, didn't want anything on her face, and she's trying to hold this mask off her face.
Yeah, you're right. Like I'll pose, but I don't want to wear it.
Yeah, I don't want to wear it. Yeah.
And
great
that's
memory, Steve.
Yeah, that is great. I know. Or even like think of Halloween, specifically Halloween, dressing your kids up, and like masks would never stay on, or certain hats. I mean, until they got to a certain age, I'm sure there was like, I don't want anything on my face.
It looks like there's a hat on the ground. It's almost like
Yeah.
she threw off a hat,
Yeah.
because it matches her dress. She's taking her mask off.
Uh-huh.
So I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, type of thing.
Right.
So reminiscent. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. This is
It's-
exactly what this picture is actually on view right now. It's really a beautiful photograph. But there's something just so relatable to this picture and so nostalgic. Even just their sweet little clothing, like that felt coat that she's wearing, or wool coat she's wearing. I mean, if your kids didn't wear it, you probably have pictures or memories of you wearing a coat like that, all dressed up. But this particular photographer, her name's Helen Levitt. And I said she was really interested in capturing these street scenes, these just kind of fleeting daily moments that people can relate to regardless of their background. And there's a palpability to this. I mean, you can almost picture yourself walking down the street and just looking and seeing somebody on their front steps like this, especially in New York City. Everybody, that just the different vignettes you're seeing within that street. And so her pictures show a lot of freedom. Here, there's a lot of freedom. There's chaos. She sometimes captures the cruelty of children in games that she happened to stumble upon. And the camera she was using was pretty small. And the way it was is that she didn't necessarily have to be facing them. The way that the lens worked, she could be, her back could a little bit be to it. And the way that the angles of the camera worked, she was able to kind of photograph behind her. So there was no posing or staging of these photographs. She just was really good at framing a scene. And here, there's nothing staged about this. She just happened upon it. And it just feels balanced. It tells a sweet story. And we know nothing about these people, but we kind of, Steve was already figuring out what that girl's little personality was. And I get the sense he might be the older brother. I don't know why I think that. Just he kind of seems like he's protective, looking out, kind of.
Their shoes really are different. The girl on the left and the boy on the right have high top leather shoes. Looks like the child in the middle has sandals on with socks.
It looks like, yeah, it is different shoes. He definitely has, or he or she definitely has socks on. It looks almost like those Mary Jane, like strap shoes, which I'm sure they probably were hand-me-downs from a cousin.
Yeah, because look at the toes on all of them are very worn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I love the artistry of the banister
Yeah.
Yeah, the bric-a-brac on it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. And the door behind it, oh my
Yes.
goodness.
If you ever get a chance, there's a book out called Humans of New York. And it's a book full of pictures just of people in New York. Not
They
nearly.
have an Instagram account too, and the fashion is what really sucks me in.
Yes, yes.
But you're right, Martha. This is the one of the earlier versions of Humans of New York. I mean, it's just, I could stare at this picture for so long because everything about it is just so appealing.
That's the kind of pictures I like to take, is unstaged, just capture the moments. Everybody thinks I'm crazy because I don't
Well,
have people pose for pictures.
look at the reflection in the glass.
Oh yeah, good. What a nice point out, Myra. Yeah,
Mhm.
Building shows the building across the street.
Yeah.
yeah. The window, and you can even start to see some of that architectural detailing that Martha was pointing out.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a lot of her pictures. Helen Levitt's pictures are of New York street scenes. They're entitled New York. I mean, she's just really capturing the spontaneity of city life. So now we're gonna leave New York City. We're heading down south to Mexico.
Ooh.
And here we've got a totally different type
Oh,
of.
that's pretty.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
it?
pretty. What attracts you to this artwork, Steve?
I think that was John.
Oh,
John, yeah.
John, tell me. I'm sorry, John. Tell me what attracted you to this artwork.
Well, I don't know. It's sort of timeless looking to me because I don't know. I've seen pictures like it
Mm-hmm.
that were recently made, but this one somehow looks antique to me.
Yeah, it's old. It was made in the 1930s, and the style of the medium style is woodcut. So the artist was carving into wood, and the places where you see black was not carved. The places where there is white, that's where the artist carved in. Because then when you think about it, when you roll ink over it, all of the positive spaces would be getting the ink. So then when you press it on the paper, those white lines are created because there was no ink touching it.
Yep.
I
So this,
remember doing the same thing as a kid with tiles.
yeah, it's exactly.
Same the tile
Linotypes
cutting.
or linographs are the same type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, the same type of thing. You cut it out and then you put ink on it and put it on the paper and
Yeah.
the
So it's a
paper.
very old practice of art. It's a very traditional
Yeah,
practice of art. But you can capture, it's very graphic. He's a very graphic artist. It's very linear.
Yeah, that's the part I like. It's a bunch of lines.
Bunch of lines.
Go Janine.
And it's a very balanced bunch of lines. It doesn't feel chaotic. It feels very deliberate and peaceful. And so I think part of what John was saying with the timelessness is true. We don't know who they're faceless people. So, if you've been to any type of street market, this is going on forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Whether it's in Europe or, in Central America. Street markets exist forever and forever. And so while these are probably specific people he saw, he does not identify anybody's face. So it can be whoever it is to you, whether, this was 50 years ago or now. And so these the women are wearing shawls. You can see the black scarves, which might suggest it's probably really sunny outside. They're protecting their face. And this here is the woman's shawl is not over her head. You can see her hair. And then you see beautiful baskets. And I've not been able to find what the artist has depicted selling, but any guesses if this is Mexico? Any guesses what that might be?
Bread.
papayas or
Papayas.
Or bread.
papayas.
Papayas or bread, yeah. And then you can see a man here, again, no face, but wearing very traditional peasant type of garb where it's probably a loose-fitting white shirt, loose-fitting pants. He's got them cuffed up. Bye, Steve.
Bye-bye. We'll see
Bye,
you tomorrow,
Steve.
folks.
Steve, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping in.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so this particular artist, he was a brainiac. Well, he went to all the right schools. He went to Harvard for undergraduate, went to MIT for some architectural learning, and then went back to Yale for more drawing.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, pretty well-educated man. And then moved down to New York and was working with a bunch of artists through the Artist League in New York City that were very well known, or ended up being very well known. And after he got out of school at the Artist League, he went down for a summer in Mexico, and he was really, really inspired by what he called the exotic lifestyle of these street markets, which is very different than a New York street market. And he became friendly with Diego Rivera, the muralist in Mexico City. And so they had a rapport during his time there. So Diego was very inspired by the Mexican lifestyle as well. So there's some of that inspiration reflected here too. So pretty cool artwork. We've got, I think, one more. And then Janine, I was thinking of you when I pulled this one. There's almost nothing about this artwork, but I know you like abstract. So I thought we got to throw in a black and white abstract, totally abstract. And it's untitled, so we have no idea what the artist was trying to tell us. Sometimes the titles can give us a clue.
Yeah.
But what do you like this, Janine? Is this not your style of abstract, or are you feeling it?
I like it. Oh, I don't love it, but I like it. I don't like that it's contained.
Okay.
Like it doesn't go to the edge of the paper. That's the part that I don't like. But on the other hand, I think that is a major part of what they're trying to depict. What year was this done?
66.
1966.
Oh my.
It looks like a child seat to me, or a cradle, or a manger, or
Oh,
something.
interesting. Okay, yeah, this is a fun game. What do you see when you first saw this? What is the first thing you saw? So we got like a bassinet cradle. Martha, what do you see?
At first glance, I thought it was a face.
Okay, a face.
Like
Myra, tell us
Picasso.
what you see.
I thought it was the back of a head and they've got on earmuffs.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh,
Okay, Dawn, what do you see?
I see lines and stuff.
Just,
I
you
don't.
just
He's an engineer. He sees lines.
we
As
always
it
need someone to humble us, to keep us
Uh,
straight in what we see. Dawn, you just brought us right back to reality. I love it.
Uh-huh.
And John, what do you see?
What do you see when
I
you see it?
don't know.
When you first looked at it? What do you think it was?
I thought, what the heck is that?
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah,
the
you're
other
right.
reality.
And I saw the back of a turtle. I saw a turtle shell when I first
Oh,
saw it.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So this has been our own version of, what are they called? Rorschachs? We're just,
Rorschach,
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
nothing scientific about what I'm saying. So you have to do your own analysis on what that means about you. But we did assemble Don's mind, and we know that.
And when we
Okay,
were looking at the line, the wood carving thing before,
Mhm.
and how straight those lines were and everything, when you told me he went to Harvard and MIT and
Yes,
Yale, I'm like, yep, that's that very precise
yes.
parallel
And
lines and all of that comes
So,
through.
so Peggy, how big is this picture that you're showing
this
right
one,
now? No, the other one.
that one is, let me find my, it's pretty small. It's 5 by 10 inches.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
really steady hand.
Really steady hand. Yeah, and he when he was at MIT, his focus there was on architecture. So
Architecture and draft.
yeah, so you,
Yes.
you
The
don't
draft.
want a crooked house. So he didn't have those.
No, right.
Yeah.
And here, this is larger. This is I want to say 13. Yeah, 13 by 13 inches. And he was this is part of that Tamarind lithography workshop. We've seen several artists come through this workshop that's produced, and the Tamarind, as a reminder, was a studio where established artists who were not lithographers were invited to create for between 4 and 6 weeks lithographs because it was a totally different medium than they were used to working in. And this was a medium that often is dismissed as not higher art, but it is this workshop was trying to elevate that style of art. And so lithography is actually pretty work intensive. You have people who print it for you, printers who are really good at lining up registers and things like that. But Don, it was really hard finding anything about this particular artist. And he was an intaglio etcher, line drawer. So you can see, knowing that that was his background, these tiny hashed lines.
Yeah.
Here.
Granted, he's working on paper or metal, so he's used to working maybe a similar method of lithography. You can see he translated his ability to, etch very tiny short lines. You can see that carry over into his lithography. And those broad lines are almost impossible to achieve when you're doing intaglio. So that probably felt very freeing to him. But like Janine was saying, too much freedom. So he had to contain everything, and keep it so your eye is staying within this oval versus following the lines off of the paper.
It could
Okay.
also be a thumbprint.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thumbprint, yeah.
Ooh,
I can see a
yeah.
thumbprint, yeah.
Mhm.
So Peggy, so this was a lithograph that was engraved in stone or metal or something?
Stone.
And-
They're carving on stone.
Stone, and then this is all black ink?
Yes,
Is that right?
this he's using all black ink. You are able to print lithographs in different colors, but it's a lot more work intensive because you have to switch the stone out.
Yeah,
And then you have to clean the stone with all the different colors and line back up on a register.
yeah.
So this black and white, often lithographs are not typically, but you very commonly see them in black and white because it's a little less work intensive. All right, so those are our black and white high contrast photo images for today.
Okay,
Impressed.
Yeah, you can go so many different ways. You can go traditional with black and white, you can go totally abstract as you saw. So we'll do another high contrast later and hit
okay.
Diversity.
You said it, Myra. Next week is seafood.
Seafood.
We are in the throes of summer and we are ready for seafood.
Oh, see.
So join us next week to get hungry, and then we'll.
Seafood is my favorite kind of food. I see it, I eat it.
Hey.
I haven't heard that one in a long time.
I know.
Yeah, that's
All right,
the
y'all.
diet.
Bye, Peggy. Have
Bye,
a
y'all.
wonderful
Thank you,
day.
Peggy.
Have a wonderful day. Well, let's take a look at what's coming up. Fort Worth Museum of Science and History tomorrow. I do not know the topic, so it's going to be a surprise.
Oh, I wonder if she's going to do guns, because we talked about that last time.
Oh, I hope that's so. That would be interesting since that's part of what's going on in our culture today.
Yeah,
It's talking about guns, and I know Dawn would appreciate that.
Yeah,
sure.
because she
Absolutely.
said she can't do that, with the high school or, the kids that tour, and she could do that with us.
Great memory, Myra. Thank you so much for that.
I hope that's what she does.
I do too. I do too. It is of the hour, and last week we did not have Fifth Street Cafe because everybody had something to do.
Right.
Do y'all want to hang out and do Fifth Street Cafe, or do you want to call it a day since we have 2 families left?
Oh, well, the talking is the best part of Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me stop the
Let's see how it
recording.
goes.